Hey there again, folks. It's 3:44 p.m. Excuse me. Tuesday, January 26, 2018. Right now it's 3:45. 3:45, that's for me. How I understand things is 5-4-3, backwards. 5, physical movement. 4, fortitude. And 3 is the good of other people, gift of other people, being together, helping other people, whatever. Okay, my heart got hit real hard a little while ago. I'm trying to keep calm. I don't, come on. I quit taking my blood pressure medicine, as told you all a long time ago. And y'all know my blood pressure was over 200 before I quit taking it. That's when I was on the medication before I quit taking it. I'm being kept going. I'm keeping myself going for a reason, but it's almost there. Every once in a while, it's not every night. They say if you have heart issues, it's good to have a small glass of wine, maybe 2 small glasses a night. I don't do that, but I have some every once in a while. This is some Pyrat rum, very nice rum, good quality, XO Reserve, nice. It's got a little thing of Hotai on it. We had one hanging up here. Hotai is one of my past lives. It was in Japan, and I was called the Zen representative or something, whatever. They have whatever fancy word for it, but it's in the Zen philosophy. I was the patron saint of fortune tellers, bartenders, and also of children, of those growing up that couldn't defend themselves. So I would protect them. So I was very awake and very aware of that life. It's funny, when I was a kid, I took a trip with my parents to the Virgin Islands. We went out on a catamaran sailboat to go in between the 3 islands. I got my scuba diving license and everything there. Went out diving, had a lot of fun. But anyway, it was kind of funny. The name of the catamaran was Hotai. Like I said, I had a good heart attack just a while ago, so go a little slower. Anyway, the closer I come to fully leaving this body, dropping it dead, I still run into more and more stuff and information all the time. I'm leaving it here with Deanna, so you'll have it. But I'm also putting it on video. There's if you Google a YouTube video recorder, there's a couple apps where you can actually, download a video and keep it. And those of you that are interested in this, or think you have friends or family that would be, I want to ask you to do that. Either, do it for them, do it for yourself. I don't matter, okay? I'm not important. But this information I have has never been anywhere, never in creation. I just made this drink. Had a little sip before that, trying to figure out the right combination. But I'm just having problems. Good. I need to get. This stuff is important to yourselves. The more you look at this information I give you, the more you're going to realize, there's something that idiot said that made sense. the more you're going to understand that the information I'm offering has value to you. That's my end goal. What's yours? I hope it's to help yourself be as much of yourself as you can, as well as hopefully take care of those you love. Maybe even other people that you just met or know of. The vast majority of spirit in a body is 17% soul. You know, see how I said 19? Actually, with the human body in there, it's more like when 17% spirit gets put in a physical body, it's more like 19% or more lower frequencies. And the reason for that is, as I've said many times, many times, is that if you take a tuning fork and you touch it to something hard and you hear that beautiful sound, do it again, you hear the sound, and immediately dunk it in some vegetable oil, car oil, grease, and try to listen to it. The vibration goes down. That's what happens when you, who you really are, is put in the physical body. And again, I'll say this. Look in the mirror. See, look at who you are. That's you inside the car you're driving. Your friend goes by and waves to you when they're driving the car. That's what you're looking at when you look in the mirror. When you look down the pupils of your eyes, when you focus that much to see in the pupils of your own eye in the mirror, eyes in the mirror, hopefully eyes. A lot of our lives are tougher than other people. Then that's who you are. Okay? That's the real you. So anyway, that's the whole idea. For you to learn more about yourself, again, Jay's just doing these videos to sell stuff. I'm doing these videos to give you free information, to give you access to information that's not free. It's for sale at thespiritualfoundation.com, and there's free information there too. The information in there about the spheres, I tell you about most of the basic stones that go into the different spheres, but I changed that, and I've taught Deanna to change that, because if we make a pineal sphere for you, we're going to make a pineal sphere. When it cranks up your pineal, all of them crank up your whole body, period. But they accentuate on the one field that the sphere is relative to. Also, we use the stones relative to who you are, to your own personal frequencies. So, if you look at the meaning of the sphere and the stones that we show listed, there's other stones that go in there I don't list. I'm not going to. This is personal to myself and Deanna. Deanna sees it for herself. Strong source will find that for themselves. And it'll never be wrong. But I have a slightly different way of going at things. What I am, who I am, not this J. Essex body, but I'm Arae's focal point. The original one, the primary. I was made to serve and protect. If you're going to serve, especially protect, you have to be able to immediately see what you're looking at, to see something and know it right away, to break it down into categories, positive or negative, aggressive, non-aggressive. You have to know exactly what you're looking at. And then you have to decide what you're going to do about it if anything's necessary. If something's got a lot of love in it and it's hurting, it needs to be protected from what's hurting it. Something's aggressive and it wants to abuse, you destroy it. Talk to it once and Unless it's really close to the border, it does it again, you just take it out. For that reason, some people have watched that and they call me mean and aggressive. I'm not. People have told me you don't have the right to do that. They're strong enough to actually watch it happen when I do it. You don't have the right to do that. And I said, okay. Something comes, I said, why do you say that? And they say, well, it might change later. It might be learning. I said, okay, something comes up to you and literally starts beating the crap out of you, hurting you, working towards killing you. And then you come to me crying, screaming, help me, protect me. And what do you want me to tell you? No, I don't have the right to do that. I have to let it hurt you because it might kill you, but the next person who goes up to it might learn. Throw that in people's face, they get real pissed. A lot of people have thought of me as being negative. I'm not, but when my job is to protect and everything is being beat up, what do you expect me to be happy? And a lot of new people come up, man, this guy's a nut. And then the more they listen to me, the more they look at what I'm doing, the more they understand and can see for themselves, the more they understand me. And the way they feel about me eventually changes. Good. However it happens, fine, that's how it happens. The most important thing I know, I gotta keep going. And I will keep going. The vast majority, so far over 90% of you in body, have no idea who you really are yet. That doesn't make me special. That makes you special where you don't even understand yet. And for the next 100 years, this information that I'm giving you is going to keep growing, become more popular. And people are going to forget who wrote it, because that's not important. People are going to remember the information itself, because that's what's important. Okay, now getting away from all that. There's other things I keep becoming aware of. I'll throw out in the video real quick, but Deanna already knows about. I'm leaving Deanna information. She's going to make some videos later. She doesn't like to be on camera. She's some people get about that. Some people aren't. She's more of a private person. That'll happen later. But still, the information she has, she'll be giving you on this channel. I can't tell you exactly when I'm leaving. I'm really sick. I have to literally slowly kill myself by destroying this body bit by bit. And I'm not talking ammunition and razor blades. I'm talking about the body dying from the inside out. I knew when I got to this point that nobody was ever going to get me out of here. I started finding that out early 2015. Most of the stuff out there is afraid of me. Does not want to be the thing that finally collapses this body, thinking I'll hurt it when I get out. And that would never happen. It doesn't matter. Remember, the original first being, male and female, the first one, were the first two beings, which you remember used to be one being, and then it split itself into two different parts, which initiated, it created the birth of male and female, two slightly different parts of the whole. They're the only ones that ever got anyone out of, that put people in a body or took them out. It was a female. The angels actually would kill your body, and then bring it about, and then the original female would be telling them what to do. Anyway, if you're the only one that's ever driven a bus, and you don't let anyone else ever learn, then you have control of it. You have a monopoly over that one area. Wow. Anyway, and the fight's been going on so long that And I've done so much that no one really wants to get near to me except for the idiots that that I keep getting rid of. Creation's sick because of how it was made. The very first life was abusive as hell. That was Lily and I, the primary Lily and the primary Arae, her and myself. So that's all changing. All that stuff's already changed. It's just me getting out of here and Arae, what I am, come together with the rest of what I am, and just making all the change. Just saying, this is the law. No. So, if you don't think that's too crazy and arrogant for you to listen anymore, then keep listening. Don't ever get upset at me about my videos when all you have to do is turn the switch off. There's a reason why you still listen. There's very few of you that ever get upset. The reason why you do is because you are going to put this information to good use for yourself, no one else. Anyway, so there's other information. Some I'm going to give you right now, but Deanna will keep giving you as soon as I can get this body to drop, and I'm doing everything I can. Then Deanna, she's going to have a couple months just to get away from all this. She's sore. She's powerful as hell. 40% of her energy literally came from me. She has none of my spirit. She's got like next to nothing for a male spirit inside her. Everyone's got different percentages, but she's got next to nothing in regards to male energy. But 40% of her energy, not her spirit, but her energy, is mine, came from me directly. So in that category, she's kind of freaky. But also, the way she and I see things, she's right on target. So I will be giving her information from the other side when I get home. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to anyone else. It's not a monopoly, but if you got the information from her, you can have some serious faith in it. Let me just leave that there. Now, some things I wanted to talk about. I mentioned in the video that should be uploaded before this one, right before it maybe. I talked about the different fields of essence having lives on the planet Gaia, and then it blew up. And then I talk about the planet, the stone from Gaia, having made it. Took a long time, but it made it out here to the Earth a while ago. So you have to realize there's a dimensional connection between us and Gaia. It's like she is inside our universe. This universe, well, she is. But when Gaia, when she had all those lives on her, when Gaia was made, the first physical body made, it was the size of a galaxy, maybe about 3/4 of the size of the Milky Way galaxy. Not that very big. Well, the first souls ever created were very small portions of soul spirit with its own energy. And they were in a separate universe. I don't mean galaxy, I mean universe. And they were not made strong enough, big and strong enough, to put up with the abuse necessary to grow them quickly. So the original first being male and female let them step to the side. And they just kind of put that, left that universe. It wasn't that close to where Gaia was. And then they built another universe, second universe, that's around, including the area of Gaia. So Gaia, the galaxy that Gaia was in, Gaia enrolled the male universal essence part of her, which male universal essence is always star. Female universal essence is always planetary. So that was the first galaxy. And then the new first souls, the initial first souls, the ones that were not adequate according to the thoughts of the original first being male and female. There was a first universe, and then they were the first souls, and they were put in it. And then they built a new second universe, which is Raptor, which was made to enclose the first galaxy, which had a Gaia in it. So, all right, that being done, there's other things. Just a minute here, if you don't mind. I shouldn't need to turn the camera off. Like I said, I quit taking blood pressure medicine, I don't know, months ago. The last reading my doctor took, it was 209 on a systolic. The high end was 209, and then diastolic was 116, something like that. And that was on blood pressure medicine. So off blood pressure medicine, I shouldn't still be here, but it's all being made to happen as it is for a reason. I'm just not happy about it. And it's what I am inside and outside of this body that's causing that to happen, so we'll see. I want to say I have a feeling things will turn out right, but I've never been able to trust anything except for animal spirits since I've been out of this body. Since I've been in this body, excuse me. Out of the body is a different thing. Okay, anyway. All right, got that done. Because that caused a little bit of confusion with people about, the first souls coming out. I had to change the wording in book number 1. That was done a couple months ago or something. And book number 3, the reason for the third edition is for the third printing of the first edition. And I already did a video about that. If you're seeing this one, you've seen that one too. If you open up to Roman numeral page 2, which the Roman numeral pages don't really start till 3, but on the left-hand side, which would be Roman numeral page 2, it says that the timeline of events in that book are only going to be, they're relative to my getting out of this damn body. And I need to hurry and get out if I'm going to make things happen according to the proper timeline, the one I have already set up by the end of December. Of this year, 2018, you should be meeting our friends in media, ET friends. I've been doing a lot of stuff out of body, but whatever. A lot of good things are happening, but everything can't take off and keep going nonstop until this body's dead and I'm free. And it's hard for me to die, especially when no one will pull you out. People don't remember. They weren't responsible for pulling me out before, and there's a lot of fear involved on their part. So it's all right though. It's going to happen anyway. So I've also talked about, a couple thousand years from now, from people coming out from the physical bodies going away. And I mean big time. There'll be about 10% of them left. There'll be a few left hanging around. I've also said there's 1,672 new universes. And you're going to have, when you get out of the body you're in, except for a very, very small amount of you. I don't mean percentage, I mean really small amount, period. are going to be going back in a body anytime soon. The rest of you are going to be relaxing, calming down, getting rid of the frustrations and anxiety that you've picked up in these so many lives almost back to back. That when you do go back in a body, excuse me, when you do go back in a body, you're going to go back into one of these new energy bodies. It'll be happening here in this universe, but the next life almost all of you have is going to be in one of these energetic bodies. And then you have most of your abilities. You'll know, you'll be able to look and talk and see and deal with the other side, but you'll also be in an energy body that's stronger, stiffer. It's hard for you to work through it, but anytime you want to, you can call home. And if you really need to get out of that body, you'll be able to get out. No more of this abuse crap. All the big stuff's being taken away, deleted. When I say big stuff, I'm talking about all the big abuse items. What I haven't talked about yet, and Deanna will give you the lowdown on this later, it's months away. First thing popped in my head is maybe 5, probably 6 months away before you ever hear about it. These new bodies, I'm talking about people having these new energy bodies that you'll be having lives in. Then you're going to start finding out, not having lives like this, you're going to start finding out about lives that you're going to be having in the future, farther future, more than 2,000 years, where you literally condense your own body. You take your own energy and you condense it, compact yourself to pull it together to where it's pretty well solid. Run around and do things, and then you'll have to release the solid energy. You'll have to release the solidity of that physical body, and then be yourself again. There won't be a circulatory system. It's just going to be energy condensed. You'll have energy bodies, but it's going to be your energy that you condense yourself. It's like lifting weights, condensing your muscle fibers. And then that'll help you make yourself stronger, but you'll always be yourself. You won't even have these energetic bodies to go in. You'll have more control over how you design your own development, just the way those of us that want to go to it. Those of us who want to go to a gym and work out, fine. We go to a gym and work out. We don't want to, we don't, because we don't have to. Same thing. I've said for years now that everything's going to change. Everything's going to be really good for you, but I haven't even told you a third of how good it gets. And what I've told you already, it should, if you could find a way to see that for yourself, to where you can have half a bit of belief in it, you really like the rest of it. Wait till you hear the rest of it. It's what's going to happen. Okay, there's something else. Oh yeah, a lot of people are excited about Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, ancient Egypt, Adam and Eve. They're all really well related. I talked a good bit about them in book number 2. I mentioned it in book number 1 shortly. I dealt about it much better in book 2, and especially book 3 also, trying to help you understand more about what happened, what was going on. The Adamic race, the 5 sets of Adam and Eves, who they were, what happened, where, when, why, how did civilization grow. There's so much information in these books. There's timelines. I gave you timelines for when all this stuff happened. All these books are important to go from number one, how did creation begin? How did everything start? How did it happen? Who are you? Who's this thing everyone's been calling God? Why? What beings were created? What happened? And then everything that tells you about that and a whole lot more. It's whatever. It's maybe somewhere around 150 pages. I don't know. And then book number two is called, well, the first book, Creation, its beginning and your origin. Book number 2, Creation, its journey evolving into paradise. That's how everybody was kind of living together, how harsh it was, how horrific everyone's life was. That's when you're out of a body. And when you go into a body, there is no hell. The only hell there is, the only thing that can compare to what people call hell is being inside a body, having a life. There were new spirits that were created then, by Arae and Lily, by Lydia and Armelius. All kinds of stuff going on. The source wars, the new angels, the new source animals, these new source angels. Very strong. And then book number 3. It was hard to get a name for book number 3 because it covers so much ground. There's no way. I mean, the title would be a paragraph long. No joke. Creation is history, explosive evolution, and ET arrivals on Earth. How to evolve your body and your brain, your DNA. Proof that your DNA can be changed, evolved, and that's forward, not backwards. The size of your brain, the amount of brain cells, the size of them. Earth's future. With ET's physical evolution, dimensions, metaphysical awareness, understanding spirit, developing your metaphysical abilities, and how they flow through you. And then see the very next page, you see in the black, the bold print to cover my butt for the time I gave you. The timeline presented in this book will begin upon the death of the J. Essex body, freeing Arae from his prison. As soon as I'm out of here, if there's a problem with me being stuck here a little bit longer, because I have to slowly destroy this body through decay, and there's not much of anything left of it. I've gotten huge and everything else, but that's from everything. The cell walls falling apart. I've gained the last year and a half, I've gained over 150 pounds of water. You feel my skin? It starts at the feet and goes up on the right side where the liver is. It's cirrhosis, liver disease. So your body, the skin, you press the skin, it feels like, wow, you've been working out. No, that's water. Water's a solid thing. No, it's not solid, it's liquid. Yeah, but liquid, you can't compress liquid. You try take a garden hose. Don't do this. This is, a bad joke. But if you were to take a garden hose, turn it on, start your car and pour water down the intake, you will bend rods, break pistons, because you cannot compress water. So when water's in the physical body and it's blown out everywhere, like I said, I'm like a ball. You can press me most anywhere. Even my face is all swelling out. It's all filling up with water. Where I scrape myself on my legs, it opens up more because there's so much pressure in there, and it pours water. I I walk around all day with the bottom of my overalls and both legs wet from the water seeping out of me. I ain't crying. I'm just telling you that's what's going on. I got doused with gasoline, about 10 gallons, and lit on fire. Work accident. Burnt the hell out of myself, you know. I actually was telling a couple bad jokes in the ambulance on the way back to the Grady Hospital, to the burn unit, not way back, on the way to him. And the guy was anxious to get away from me. He thought I was insane because I was, you know, handling that much pain. He did give me a touch of morphine to cut down the pain, but when you're covered, 30% of your body's covered and bad. Sorry, 60% of your body, 60% of my body was burnt. 30% of my body was real bad, second, third degree burns. I mean, my palms actually fell off. I had to go like this to push the palms back on and hold them there. Imagine doing that. Yeah, I know what it's like to feel pain. I know what it's like to have the original first being male and female in your head 24/7 messing with you. And then you just keep getting stronger, and I got connected with my own energy, killed more of them. Sounds nuts to some people, but that's okay. I mean, the first time you hear something, it has to sound nuts. Somebody came up to you, if you the past life you had 200 years ago, somebody came up to you and said, pretty soon they're going to make vehicles, tubular vehicles out of metal, and they're going to fly like a bird. They're going to fly in the air. You'd look at them like, I don't know what you got, but stay away from me and my family, man. You're sick. And it's not that the people were dumb. They weren't. They were just unaware. I call that ignorance. I'm ignorant of a lot of stuff. I could build a hell of a good racing engine or a street engine and car, vehicle. I couldn't build no rocket ship. So I was ignorant to that. Ignorance is just unawareness. Now, when you're unaware of something that's important and then someone tells you, explains what's going on, and then you decide you still want to stay unaware, then you're stupid. Till then, you're not. It's a simple thing. That's what they call nursing a drink. I don't want to drink too much or feel too much alcohol in me. I don't need it, but to be honest, it's nice to relax a little bit, and it does take a little bit of the pressure off my blood vessels. Anyway, especially after my heart getting hit hard. So anyway, let's get back on topic. I always wanted to... Hello. Making a mess. Always wanted to try to get to areas where I could just talk to people for free and just answer their questions, but even when I had flew around all over the place, have events, people just wanted to hear me talk. You know, that's good because I had good information for them, but that's what they wanted. But I was hoping for more questions. I was there at the beginning when it happened. I got the answers. I just didn't. Whatever, do you can. Anyway, so when let's see, I told you about trying to get back on track and hurry up, burning up. There's a lot of talk about Egypt, and you hear all kinds of things. One Egyptian god had a son and a daughter, and their names were so-and-so. Well, the next thing you know, that you hear that so-and-so, the child, was actually their father, and there was 1,000, 1,500 years difference in time. They don't know. They don't have the records. Let me say this real quick about, well, slow but quick for me, about Lemuria. Lemuria was the first initial colonization of this planet. We've had plenty of visitors. They've come and they've gone. They'd come to get floral stuff. They'd sometimes just pick up some minerals they needed for stuff. There's some type of quartz we had here that they had quartz in it, but it was a very clear crystal that had a reddish tint to it, not rose quartz. It was a darker quartz. But anyway, it was used for doing a lot of stuff on starships. And there's good luck finding any now. They found out about it, they came and they grabbed it, okay? Who did doesn't matter. I'm not going there. It was for good use. But other people would be coming for the gold, silver, the flora, the medicine that they could produce from the flora. You know, the plant life here was incredible. And then anyway, they started, the first civilization opened up in Lemuria, a series of mostly large islands in the Pacific. Whew. And come on, lungs. Anyway, so they started mining colonies and stuff over here, and some scientists, and they would come to the major large islands. There's a few of them. You can see 5, you can see 7, depends on where you stop, calling something large and something medium, etc. And but Lemuria was basically a bunch of islands, but some big ones. They came and they'd take a look at everything here, decide, okay, this is a good resource, but it takes a little while to get it out. So they started the colonies. And then each of the major islands had people from different planets. So, and eventually they formed their own community, which became Lemuria, which, other than the one at the problematic Anunnaki that came, they've all been removed now. There's only a couple of people hiding around, and all the major problems are dealt with. The Drak, Neantids, and others already got rid of them. If you go back in my videos on YouTube, you'll find all that information available to you. 2016, it started getting real serious. Planning the initial events to go ahead and bring an end to their rule of this planet, which the problematic Anunnaki, that no matter what group you go into, there's always going to be problematic people. These people, they're Anunnaki, but they're not, they were trash as far as their attitude, abusive. Anyway, the rest of them really got along, trading and everything else. People's scanners, this part of the brain, started developing stronger, helping them communicate with telepathy. Almost all of them were becoming more telepathic because they needed to barter with each other for food, medicine, materials, because all the other planets where they came from, they were far away. Supply ships didn't come much, and a lot of them were usually at war with one or two of them. I mean, it was, chaos out there. So anyway, then it finally sank. Atlantis, they were sinking the islands, and Atlantis was already existed before Lemuria was sinking too much. And then Lemuria was in the Pacific on the bottom. That's where it still is. It's coming up. Hawaii was and still is a capital of Lemuria, and New Zealand is the southern tip of it. The Atlantic Ocean basically go to the middle of it, but it's a little off center, and it's huge. Most of the a huge portion of the Atlantic Ocean basis, North and South Atlantic Oceans, is Atlantis. If you go from around Yucatan, Honduras, that area, and you start stretching out towards up towards the Caribbean, that was like the longest section of Atlantis. And it's still under the Atlantic Ocean. It's not under Antarctica. That's a starship that's well over 1 million years old, and it'll never go anywhere. They keep using it to maintain a large city underneath Antarctica. So that's where the friendly ETs are. The problematic ones were hidden different places really deep, especially recently in military bases, but they're all gone. There's a lot of it in Atlantis, in Alaska, in that area, in that part of the Pacific Ocean. And this issue with Hawaii, Hawaii's not going to stop for a while, folks. There's other volcanoes opening up, other fissures. It's not just the big island. Okay, this is something that's happening to release pressure. So it's not as a catastrophic an event. The ring of, what they call the ring of fire pressure, the middle of the Atlantic, the middle of the Pacific Ocean had been closed off, where there's volcanic action down there, and it was just all seeping out slowly at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean floor. That was actually closed off, and then the pressure started building up, and now the ring is splitting. You know, the ring of fire, what they call a ring of fire, that lets off pressure around the end, which actually makes the whole plate want to build up. The whole Pacific plate to tectonic plate build up, and then about where Hawaii is and some other places, it's letting off pressure there. So then what happens? It builds up like this, pressure lets off, and boom, it goes like that, it cracks. That's how it's being done. And it's being done by the other side, Gaia, energy from this planet. She's involved. Paolo, it's part of Arab from a long time ago, from the second age here on this planet. We're in the sixth age. All this stuff's in the books. All of it. So there's divers that are going to come up with some real neat artifacts from Lemuria, but it's not happening to quote unquote raise Lemuria in all its glory. No, but it's part of our history. You're going to see some of it. You can actually finally hold on to some real Lemurian crystals. Anyway, what I mentioned before, and now we're finally going to get into a little deeper. Egypt. These Egyptian gods and everything, they weren't gods, they were people from Atlantis. I can tell you a lot about that personally. And the timeline's all screwed up. I'm putting that together for Deanna. I'll put it together for everyone, but I'm leaving it for Deanna. And she'll take care of it. Like I said, when I finally do get out of this damn body, when it finally drops dead, had a couple months for Deanna to get out, take a little break, getting out of here, but she's got a lot of stuff she's got to do here. So she'll be busy, not wanting company either. And if people can't respect that, then they suck. I've always been honest, I've always been straight. I've shown I can make a mistake, and I don't care, I keep going. Why? When you make a mistake, you quit doing it. The world's greatest race car drivers, what would happen if they stopped after they made a mistake? Or our planet's best artists, what happened if they made a mistake and they quit? Scientists, hello. A mistake isn't a bad thing. It's not even a mistake. It's something that, with newly found information, it becomes a correction, a progress, a forward motion to getting to improving your ability to do something. That whole concept has to change to the truth. That is progress. Now, you do something wrong 3 times, stop, look at what's going on. Go in the mirror. It's what I call mirror time. Go in the mirror, look at yourself. Not your face, look in your eyes and say, what's going on? Relax, open up. The more you relax and open up and find yourself, and I've given you all the information how to do it, I've helped you do it, and over 1,100 videos that I've been doing, since 2012? I've been talking about it for years before that, a couple years before that, but a few years before that. It's all about everyone finding themselves, being able to become themselves, see what you can see for yourself, by yourself, and then correlate that to the information I gave you. I'm not worried about what you're going to find out. You're going to find out I'm right. I am the old man. I'm the old fart. I'm the thing that's been around forever. I'm from the beginning. That's why it's easier. That and my strength, my power level is why I can do these things and see what I see. When you're in a body, you're in a tar body. It's like I was talking before about the tuning fork. Smack that tuning fork. It sounds so beautiful. You smack it again, stick it in oil or grease. What happens? That's what happens when you, as your true self, gets put in a body. All your frequencies, vibrations start slowing down. You put tar. You can feel stone energy. Put tar around it, around a stone, and then bake it on half of it, and then just feel the tar part of it and see what you can feel. Not as much. Why? The tar slows down the frequencies to a lower vibration. Slows down the energy to a lower frequency, however you want to look at it. So, but these things, I'm going to be feeding the information about Egypt too. It's important when Atlantis was finally sinking for the last time. People want to know the Pacific Ocean was more or less on its own self naturally unstable. But also there were issues there too, where people were drilling through the body of the island they were on, and going through the crust to bring up magma. And that was upsetting and breaking apart the islands. In Atlantis, the first crystal pit, that was made by the red atom. I remember it very well. It was the biggest one ever there. And it was finally disassembled. I said, that's enough. These people are idiots. Next thing you know, they had 7 pits that other folks made. None of them were as big, but they're all, they all made them themselves. We're doing this, doing that. The Anunnaki, the problematic Anunnaki here, found out how valuable the physical bodies were of the Adamics. Their metaphysical abilities were incredibly powerful. So they started making all these little pits, and they did the same thing. Went through the island right down to the core, and what happened? Atlantis was mostly one huge island. It was a huge continent. It was an island, and because a lot of continents that aren't attached to other continents. I mean, it was a huge island. It was incredible. Took up most of the Atlantic, from the Honduras area, whatever, up to up to the Caribbean and well below it. It was huge. But that's what happened to Atlantis. And now how this connects with Egypt. In Egypt, you had Osiris and Isis. They weren't part of the Osiris, I remember that life. It was being connected. I wasn't part of the main council from Atlantis, but everything I said, and I was very well connected to them. Okay, what I said and did, they understood, especially for why I did it. And we had some friends from another planet that had come here and down to Atlantis, and they left me in charge of a huge ship. It's still on this planet today. I don't know how to do this backwards in front of you, but here, I'll just do it backwards in front of you. If you go to the Atlantic Ocean, as you would look at the Atlantic Ocean on the map, not how I'm not, as you would see it, say, here's the wall on the map. Atlantis was like this. Okay? Right about, wait a minute. Right about there. See, right about there is where the ship is. When you find the plateau, and the government, U.S. government's been over there looking for a long time, they can't seem to find it. They've been looking around the whole area, hoping to find that and other stuff. They've taken enough stuff out of Atlantis on the ocean, where they said, okay, this tells us this, that, there, and then they know about the ship, but they can't find it. That ship took the fifth part of the sinking of Atlantis is when the major royalty got out of there, and they were on the ship, and then it went from Atlantis down to Egypt, and then the Atlanteans just got off the ship there in Egypt. The Tan Adamic race was already there, but they did not have the technological advantages that that we had from Atlantis. And the people that gave me the ship to use, they said, you just take care of it for us, don't worry about it. They were a race that was dying out. There's another planet that was at war with them, so I was holding on to it for them, but keeping it safe and everything too. But it was mine to use. Of course, there's no my, me there, but they put the responsibility in my hands. We used it for all of Atlantis. Most of our warring had already stopped. We had a bigger problem. Our continent was sinking. So anyway, that planet was finally taken over, and most of the people annihilated. So, and after dropping everyone off over there in Egypt, we made a couple of extra moves back, trying to find some people, two trips, to find anyone else we could, get them up there. And then after that was done, then some scientists took it, and they were trying to figure out some way to do something to help Atlantis. And when they were underneath the main crust of it, looking at it, it just broke and fell. And it was trying to get out and it couldn't. So Atlantis is still underneath Atlantis is still underneath the on the bottom of underneath the Atlantic Ocean. And Lemuria is sitting on the ground. Atlantis will move up and down a little bit, but Lemuria, there's going to be enough action where parts of it are really going to be brought into, higher waters. There'll be other parts of Lemuria that break water, the surface of the water. But to really find much, you're going to wind up having to be a diver. It's time for change. It'll happen. Like I said, the thing with Hawaii, that's not going to be done that's going to happen for a pretty good while. I want to say a long term. So once the plate cracks, things will settle down a little bit quicker. So even though its effects in Hawaii are strong, you can see that it's happening in a way where it's causing as little loss of life as possible. And that's that part of Paolo's that's out there. In the second age here on this planet, he was a big king, ruler, whatever, leader. I like the word better. And his home was Oahu. That's why I had to go there before I died. That and find another piece of myself. People talk about soul retrieval. Part of myself was yanked away and messed with. I did a video about it. He was throwing stuff all over the house when the cottage we were in. When Deanna and I we rented a small house right on the water. I mean, you know, the backyard was the ocean. So collected that part of him. He's stored healing right now. But anyway, those are what was called the gods of Egypt. And all kinds of weird stuff happened. I don't want to say too much. I'll leave that for Deanna, but it's not like you thought. Anubis was there well before Set was, and they have that backwards. There was no one there to really make good history, and most of the people really didn't care about it. From Atlantis, when the vast majority of us went to Egypt, it was such a sad thing that nobody really wanted to write it down. One good thing about it, killed a lot of reptiles, dinosaurs. So, whoops. So, anyway, Deanna will have a lot of stuff for you later. And for those of you that are waiting for me to get out of here, because your energy is going to kick up through the roof, 3 to 4 months after this body's dead, hopefully before the end of 2018, y'all going to get a lot stronger. You'll understand. You'll understand the full benefit of the crank-ups you paid for. And a lot of people got them. A lot of our ET friends, they've been watching you before and after. They knew ahead of time you were going to get cranked up, and they saw it, and they're hanging loose waiting. Anyway, I'm about ready to pass out. I'd like to be able to give you a date and time and stuff. Doesn't work like that. I'm not going to physically hurt this body. That takes away from the message. I don't want anyone else to do that. I want you to come alive. There's never been a better time for you to be in a body, and we're almost there. Finally. Things are going to be made better than how the first life ever should have happened. Not how it happened. How it happened was horrific. And that was my other half and I remember it. 10 hours ripped apart by these velociraptors on steroids, looking into each other's eyes as it happened. The original first being was sick, made itself male and female, still had issues. All they wanted to do was abuse everything to create more of them, to create more smaller beings, not first for company and then for praise. So They were very selfish. There's a big difference between becoming yourself and being about yourself. It's important to you and those you care about to find out more about yourself, to open up, relax, expand, and finally realize who you really are, what you do. What you can do and what your abilities are and what's around you. It changes your whole thought process about every other thing you do. So you need to become yourself. But being selfish and just caring about yourself, that's heartless. There's people like that, but not as many as you think. You're all controlled to make yourself be nasty, and all that stuff is dead. So, anyway, as always, as I say and as I mean, I love y'all, and I really want you to understand who you are. I want you to see yourself for who you are. I want you to understand what you can do. I want you to become what you really are. I know who you are. I want you to appreciate yourselves the way I do. Things are changing. Nothing can stop that. All for the better. Folks, love you, man. Take care, and if anyone ever looks down at you, look up at them and just laugh. Because anyone that does that can't amount to half of what you are. Have faith in yourself. Love yourself. You're worth it. If they don't think so, that's their problem. Take care.